My never say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Me. Martin Sembebre o TV so Supreme Court for the omo judgment aba efa eye Mr. Quayson asem no ho. Martin brofo bebre samije mfi kasa NDC kasa MPP4 kasa amanfo ka brofo. Ase not for nipa dodo na mo Ghana no asem na masom nya. Ebi ka court for terms, ebi ka dien, ebi say Supreme Court. The question is, as I'm not here saying, now I am going to make it so simple for what I say north. Now one kata tina busa won say na Ghana na yete no adan na yetumi tina ho ma nipa bi efa koti kwan bi so eji eyetumi free yene nipa ne nsem esai tumi no. You see, I've always said, the Supreme Court there, no, the finality, but it is infallible. Supreme Court, nobody checks the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has been put there in such a way that the only people who can check the Supreme Court is us, the citizenry. We have the right to check the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, take a decision here, who basically has an oversight over Supreme Court decisions and as activities in the Supreme Court. The General Legal Council is basically made up of Supreme Court judges. So it is basically a branch of the Supreme Court. Now, Oba Krobia Mua, it Oba America, say ye Supreme Court judge. Everybody is interested because the Supreme Court, the only people or the only institution that can check the Supreme Court is the citizen. Is the citizenry. They have that right to check the Supreme Court, whether they get it right or get it wrong. It is we, the people, we have the right to check the Supreme Court. Inti, the Supreme Court, the case Babontinia, we need to take our time and look at it and ask questions about our judgments. Now, there's something happening in Ghana. We need to be very careful. And as I sit here as a young Ghanaian, I expect the court or the Supreme Court, I expect them to start building some kind of a reputation there. That confidence and belief Ghanaians had in it, and as in them, it will come back. But BBC, it looks like say Supreme Court na could di abrewa bi aduane. Omo de omo nsa koto sama aduane. It is becoming very difficult for the Supreme Court to take their hand out. Obi oha would see me and they don't really understand what I'm trying to say. Now, consistently, Yabeka Quayson asem no but me besem de be si asem we so. Consistently, since the Kufuado MPP bedi Ghana so, the Supreme Court has been struggling to defend their decisions. And anytime something like that starts to happen, then it means that there is a problem with the Supreme Court. You see, until say Kufuado about power, until say Supreme Court started putting out some judgments, until say people started asking some very important questions. For a very long time, not Ghana for Obian who can question Supreme Court judgment. But things have changed. People are now beginning to understand the Supreme Court, with all due respect, they might be the last sayers, but they are also humans who can make mistakes. There have been instances where the Supreme Court has a review as seminal. That means to say Supreme Court can make mistakes. They should be able to understand to say when they do something that is not perfect, we also have rights to question, criticize, for them to look at alternatives. Now, this Gyakye Quayson issue we are abaying. But how did it start? Why is it that today majority of Ghanaians find it difficult to believe in the judgment of the Supreme Court? Now, to be very honest with you, if you're not a lawyer, now see the court judgment bar, because you're not a lawyer, you might read the whole judgment, you might understand the simple English, but ebia say udru and I say when it comes to the jargons, the court terms, it might confuse you a little bit. But majority of the time, there is an executive summary of every court judgment. So you might have an idea of the judgment in Abano. So what I say north now, Sheme, o MP okoto aba e man about 3,000 and over advantage so onko parliament no na asem na aba o pese wo te ase o pese obusa ho se obebusa ho se asem we ase kire sen e den na ebeduru ha adenti na Quayson de bia o record OPF record then na Supreme Court abeka se and the Quayson oye me MP me wo ase not me wo gide wodi mu no today no Supreme Court no ese on penny ema Quayson enye den enko parliament. These are questions we are asking north in here. I also start to busa ho. Say dey na bae. Now me be chirem. Brofo na nkofo keka ni nyina to twene. Sa brofo akese am gina radio so gina TV so. Chirem keka ni nyina so we a lawyer. Me yemfre lawyer wanwan, me yemfre lawyer wanwan Ghana for na monte Ghana ena. Na yenti kroma de bia asema yemfra lawyer we yenti kroma de se Kevin Taylor ye de warrant ato no so ane ehu lawyers akese a omotiti radio so kaso Kevin Taylor de nbe fie oni de anu anu se akoya na nisa ponchini etia ni baby lawyer Moro Sampao akoya fa ne 2 year de to so yi omunyina betena sa ekua pokia de kofa de betena radio so na lawyer pa na woni se Kevin Taylor de be fie kwasasam kwa wa so mo ye nkwan. Oh, Kevin Taylor, there's something I can tell you if you say Interpol na that tonu so no. I didn't hear say Ghana police for America. No makacha America police omu here Kevin Taylor no ma so nsa na ba nkwase afo. Nipa bebre omu TV so kase lawyers so Ghana 80% omu qualified to stand in the courtroom. President of the Republic kra oni classmate onye lawyer papa or you fake. Inti ment na homo obi metna radio so be sha tie bi. Enka se me a lawyer into the American pampage di dabi also ye nipa asem ni nyina no ne kura ne saying what is the simplicity of the matter. Wa woti ase north dia na uhia wo MP e dia na wo pe uhia wo kwesi Quayson uhia wo MP so bga kodi dwuma ma wo eno na hia wo na yesi ade e ka ne nkran no inchire mu no woti ase saying ma menchira wade bi bebe se Ghana fo nyina de o magini si bibi so sa asin north asime abedrusi se opese o ma Ghana fo ti ase a eye asin north fo amobeto aba ma menchire mu nchire mu 1 Gyakye Quayson oye Ghana ni oye asin ni okotena Canada me yi brofo ni nyina ato atwene na ma kire o mu ade kodie ntia Supreme Court and the omo brese ombe masa judgment na and the judgment abakura no problems e wo ho ne dose chen asem no mo asin not ma mindwudwam simple let asem we ase you don't need a PhD men ko secondary school to understand me de ba forma bedru na so afi wo tell say bibi o ho now Gyakye Quayson asin north ni ena okotena Canada ena ye fra bibi dual citizenship otumi ye Canada ni Ghana ni na Gyakye Quayson tena Canada bo ne bra ena o say bobo me bese me kofie na me koboa me man eni ekura ya wo mtu mu breku asim breku inti dia mabesua wa brochire sebi onyame atum nsem kakra na ma membra fie na membra mba embeboa asim breku fo a omo ena sebio me maame wo meto ho a omo nyina ya me nuanom me maame no me wofanom a metumi de kakra makosua brochire ne ebeboa omo inti Gyakye Quayson ma membra Ghana na membra be amanyosem na menkopem puntuo emfambra asin north fo eno ano no. Now 1 also tia say asinia wo hweme Gyakye Quayson senka oba abrochire no ene ka Ghana nda na koma so asin north nda na koma so anko betena abrochire di yie sebio emma papa wa abrochire sebio ejuma papa wa abrochire sebio ahoto papa wa abrochire sebio eye ewiase a obetena ema de opanyina wo sabe kan e wo Canada enso se da bi ma membra fie kuntunwa ya ne chineko na memfa kakra makosua ne meboa mo asin north for into obaye time na o meye MP kura no na odimpuntio ba eye asin north into oba fie no ena so party e friend NDC party bi na koma so we hu se impuntudwuma o maye na Ghana ye party a wo ho bo a wotu betumi afa so aye impuntudwuma aboa won kofo into Gyakye Quayson ka se opese o run se obeye mu MP asin for sebio omomoten kan no hu se mogimi anytime me dom ntina menya abotre medwudwam amana ne simple amamo into ba yere no be join NDC and NDC for se bobo ye de odom ne yepe na yabua Ghana nipa ote party of JJ Rawlings a dominant ote party no say Ghana for the imagine beba kesi ni na yede abua Ghana because of the people, a socialist political party. Tomu jina feso so ya Ghana ni wata abro chire kra yede omukra na epe mo na munim nyansa dodo na makosua bibi waboro kire a mo betum de abua. Nti Gyakye Quayson party no e ka say oh emra de da ho nyina wo betum afema ufema ye betum am akọ represent Asen North for. Now so tia say Ghana eye abatoɔ no ɔmo hwɛ so no ni nyinaa no ɛyɛ Electoral Commission EC for the hwɛ so enti ansa na Ghana yabakɔsɛmu anasɛ yɛ mmerɛmu yɛ bɛgye watum no ɛkyerɛ EC ɛdedeɛn ɛbɛde ɛyɛ mmeraba sɛ wo son wobɛtuma akɔpere akonnwa biara wobɛtuma akɔpere MP wobɛtuma akɔpere president enti EC no ɔmo wɔ mmara obi bɛsɛ criteria bi ɛda hɔ a sɛ wotumi pass criteria na ɛndeɛ wobɛtumi akɔ contest akonnwa bi a wopɛ wɔ Ghana. That is how it is. A credit team no. Inti NDC for Gyakye Quayson. Na Gyakye Quayson na adwene se opese obeye frankatu forma mo Asen North for no. Na emrada wa NDC for ka kye ne se was say oye dual citizen no. Was say oma Canada krona sebio odan wo ye omoba no. Was say oye den utwa omobo. Na obeye Ghana ni mapa. Sebio unne eye Canada eni twaka bia enti Gyakye Quayson so tiase na ochro krata koma Canada fo tie me embre Gyakye Quayson ye na adwene se opese odi MP no na okoje krata wo EC ho sebio sa krata na efre no form so okoje a enye pampi ana chenchina se so rane so be MP Obetuma jikrata nende obetuma kofie no yira kwadwene ho oyire betuma di abankwan obetuma di abankwan anadwo meka se bema krata no de memfa nko menje MP bia obi altumi nchi wuntum obetuma jikrata no obetuma kohia wo mpena wono mpena bedi nkomo se hey we de nka ko ye MP a na se nka madam krandi wa de bia okwa abruchi obetuma ne mako oka se we ne pese mi obetuma de krata na ko enti krata no sa okoje krata no ewo isi wa enye chinchina ewo se okọ file you have to decide se obe file na on file. Now, Gyakye Quayson koje krata no nomination form no sa na efre no Electoral Commission ho no sa time no wabɔ Canada for den wabɔ mo kokɔ anase wadinka kra Canada for yefre bibi request for renunciation of your citizenship. No the krata atumo Canada say the see the mesi ma adwene mu pɔ me pese me ko Ghana na me koye frankatufo anase embrahye bedwamni enti Canada for me ne moto kwanta ya pai me de krata we kire mo se momma me ho kwan na munji ntum se mo ni me ni twaka enti tema na kwakwaje sa nomination form no na watro krata akoma de Canada for se me mewie na mameka bibi nkire so oba bibi sa America na se oba na se obaje America krata we Ghana ni a the day na yedi America for krata ana passport issue wunsem no omo ma wudi nsie no udi no omo ka kire say ada obakọ twituo akoto etuo akoye soja ni ama Ghana no saa da na obetwe saa tuo say oye Ghana ni soja no uhia krata ampo wankasa no wagye atum say wonya America ni say okọ Ghana na okọ pre frankatuo say politician president e was say the day obey wagye say watwe krata no one person what catch America for indirectly say when you're American, so you have automatically renounced your citizenship. You don't even need to write a letter to the American government because they will find out because the decision you take, you know. So what the krata or Ghana say me ba Ghana ande na me be pick a form say me person me koye MP ewo me krom. The day I will pick that form, you know, I cease to be a citizen of the United States of America. Omo kachire o ma woti ase. Into one da utrim. Say the day ya obekọ akwaji eye krata say okwakoye MP president edwuma bi abekye so Ghana ni no woni Ghana woni America to nkwanta amapai unhia so beba America bebodwa unhia so beba America aba den opa enyense opa ubetumi atro krata abra America for ne say mewie minimo wie samo krata bia monfa ma me na memfa nto me ho na meduru bia me de akire but officially no you have renounced your citizenship. Until you writing to the American government say well renounce your citizenship no it is an extra thing you want to do enyense But the moment you go against Emrano, you have automatically the relationship between you and America. What actually? Into Gyakye Quayson kwaje forms were easy hono. Na onim say he cannot be an MP of Asin North until said yen. Into normal day no anka day na oje forms no anka automatically onye Canada ni biom. But Gyakye Quayson no say or confirm it double because nipa ono omo papa me catch easy for no hono omo kan correct. So he actually wrote to Canada for the day he was picking the form. He had written to Canada for say me mpese me Canada ni biom. Now Gyakye Quayson kwaje forms no one or say eye Asin North wono MPP fo bi de nakọ Electoral Commission. De nakọ Electoral Commission say ono Gyakye Quayson no onye Ghana ni mapa na mom oye Canada ni kakra e na oye Ghana ni kakra. MPP yawo na eye Electoral Commissioner no mo hwe Ghana batwo so no to wo nsa frɛ eye Gyakye Quayson se bra. MPP fo bi wo eye wankasa pesoa so eye constituency no de asɛm bi ana petition bi abrɛ sɛ wo onye Ghana ni na wo ba bɛyɛ den wo abɛgye krata sɛ opɛ sɛ parliament in their name. Inti MPP fo ɛkɔ EC no na EC to nsa frɛ Gyakye Quayson. Gyakye Quayson ɛkɔ EC no na okuta krata watro akoma eye Canada for mo ma reply ne say wo so wonya Canada ni bi ma ya atum na ehye Gyakye Quayson botom. Remember time na Gyakye Quayson age forms so person MP no na sa krata na otro koma eye Canada no na reply ni nyam bedru ye. Remember the moment you pick a form automatically you renounce your citizenship. When you want to go further to show Ghanaians to say where your woman no, you can demand for a request of that citizenship you have then renounced. Now Gyakye Quayson ko easy okodru easy no ena srebo eka kire ne say Gyakye Quayson asem say na MPP fo we ya asade abeto yenim say wo uni ho kwan se oje krata wa Asin North ewo yene easy office ya say okakodi omunim ena Gyakye Quayson say oh emra na mekoje forms no forms dia oji a enkyere se we MP forms no oji a otumi kodadwene ho ansana wa fele so be MP enti time me beje meje forms no ene sa ambre no na me kire se me tro krata koma Canada for krampo se me no me mpese me Canada ni biem enti mubusa me kura no krata ni ni enti Gyakye Quayson ko isi no na okuta krata e kire se onye Canada ni oya Ghana ni mapa. Time okodru isi no Electoral Commission srebo mo eje krata no na omo de hwe omo nyoma e kire se ubetumi qualify to be an MP. And I'm so Gyakye Quayson krata wo de ama ya to file so wo ho kwan so ko contest. Enye John Mahama ene ka se Gyakye Quayson wo ho kwan so obekwa contest yo. Enye asiedu nketia wo. Enye Sabio JJ Rawlings a onya ne baby ko. Eye Electoral Commissioner omo the so right. They are the people who do what? They conduct elections in Ghana. Omo na show omo krata emu na omo green light eye Gyakye Quayson say ko na yanto so aba. So one Gyakye Quayson wan fa ne pe e ne cost stand say o ye MP. Yan fa no nto. In the Gyakye Quayson went ahead and go contest the election no and win ye. Yet na MPP for ya sa tam Gyakye Quayson and then call court ni nyina ne saying almost say Gyakye Quayson embra okwaje forms no I mean kan kire wa oti Asin North bia hwem bia ende obetima kwaje forms so easy so person ye president obeda so 3 days obeto atwene say ompese obekọ ye president obi antumi yo foko into picking that form no and the MPP for akọ court say emra Gyakye Quayson kwaje forms keke no say opese odwene wo so be MP no MP no sa time no na krata na watchro akọ Canada no response nyamba into no afumra. I need to show you this. Did I keep this? Yeah. All right, let's move these two documents. I think I forgot to move them to the system. Into MPP for Esako court. I catch the court to say, Gyakye Quayson, Efumumra, and son of Kwaji easy or far easy for forms. No, na Sakra Tano response and buy into Muntiasie. The question here is, Sena Sakra Tano offer forms and yamba, dear na easy for Gina so Ekasa Gyakye Quayson in Kotwaba, Yankoton Swaba. Because I am very sure say easy who Sakra Tana echere say Gyakye Quayson enya Canada nibium no. Omo hu date woso. Omo hu date Gyakye Quayson e requesting for Sakra Tano. And omo hu date e bae. So e dey na ma easy for so omo hu data Gyakye Quayson troye any data Gyakye Quayson krata ne bae. E ye dey na easy for anka say sa date ni kire say wabu mra so. Enso easy hu date no e je krata no e ka kire Gyakye Quayson so onko ne ento ne so aba. Now, and Gyakye Quayson we ya MPP 4 year almost aba asen not say montoma omo almost had Gyakye Quayson akogina court say okoji forms no na saa time the krata watch akoma Canada for ni nyamba na wafom mra enti oni hu kwan say otena parliament. Now so ukọ Canada for mre ma I mentioned today I was trying to read something. I hope this will help a little bit. Canada for mre no this document where every a year just Google, you find this. I'm just trying to let you know. Administrative, you can say ejuma, abanye juma, oba bruchi krawa, omo wansemi omo kachiro. Hey, this is the government of Canada. Government du Canada. Canada for omoka French and omoka brofo. Now, oko omonkra tema. This is a basic thing I want you to understand. Guide CIT 0496, application to renounce Canadian citizenship. R7.I. for certain persons who acquire citizenship under amendment to the Citizenship Act in 2009 or 2015. Now, Canada mranu ubetumi apply for the ubetumi request for sa document and say me Canada nibium moma me document na me sa fan pay so me take a decision no. Now, so kai krata na the fa baby no ana Canada for website na kasa omeka chiru say omo chiro bibi say wo ho. Omo say so we read the Omankasa website or Canada. This is what they say. Almost say, and it is there. You can Google and go. So go and Google and read yourself. We read the Canada for Ankasa government. No, almost say what happened next. Say once your application is received in Sydney, Nova Scotia, is considered complete, it will be reviewed and processing will start. The moment I bet krata koma Canada for say, member some Canada nibium inti monya na mombra me krata ma ewiase hu. Even though no metuma ka say menye. But montro krata bimbra enche say matro mo no. Omo say krata ne ba Canada for ne ko omo be hwe krata ni mu no ma hwe de omo be ye. Omo ko we no say some applications may encounter delays and require more time for processing. In these cases, you will be contacted for more information or asked to supply additional documents. Almost say applications a delay. Instances bebre applications about a delay. A bu also omanka sabe fro no makasa oh ebia information I'll fill no unya date of birth wrong. Ebia our address no we street address no way wrong. Ain't it correct way? Ni nyina keka ho enema ebia sa document no omo reply no a delay. Now, if you are sending an application from outside Canada and the United States through a consular mission, allows sufficient time for your application to be received at the Case Processing Center in Sydney, Nova Scotia, as mail service can vary between countries. Almost say, send requests abra omo Canada ho. Say omo sa request letter na say woni Canada and say USA na wo send ye fi ekrobia enye Canada na USA majority of the time no eye document no a delay. Majority of the time no you might not get it as early as you are expecting, but they will make you know that they have received your document. Now, if your application is approved, you will receive a renunciation document which will show the date you cease to be a Canadian citizen. Almost say, so document, if it is approved, you will receive a document that will show the day who sees this Canada ni. Inti Gyakye Quayson call EC office Sakra na odikochire isi no. What was the date on it? Echrese Gyakye Quayson has ceased to be a citizen of Canada. Ediana eye isi fo hu wo krata no so. Date ben or submit ye and a date ben or cease to be a citizen of Canada. It's a simple question. Now the reason why me busa sana say the moment you beto abamba also and wakoye MP no until you are sworn in Parliament, you are not an MP yet. So even Gyakye Quayson after winning the elections, no, ewa Asen North or Kojina Parliament that day no white no until say Speaker of Parliament sworn in no, Gyakye Quayson wasn't an official member of the Ghana Parliament. Now, okay, Supreme Court for judgment no mana. Supreme Court say judgment ni nyina gina de gina ni nyina ne say could you talk say Gyakye Quayson in free Parliament ne say time a Gyakye Quayson na ekwaje form to say opeso ye MP no sa time no na krata ne maage wan kire krata no say one Canada eni twaka enti asem ni nyina no asem not for the Supreme Court say the Supreme Court of Ghana say Gyakye Quayson na ekwaje forms na sa form you can decide not to submit enyamra chenchen no almost say time we na adwe so okwaje forms no sa time na oje forms no na sa krata na watwa koma Canada say almost so emma no response say onya Canada ni sam aye ne maye into Supreme Court say no mu gina so aka say Gyakye Quayson enye den enye qualified to be in Parliament atias here asem for mu tie me now basing on Supreme Court a judgment no almost say Gyakye Quayson technically onye legit MP because from the scratch, you know, every single step he took was illegal. He cannot carry himself as an MP. Meaning, say Gyakye Quayson from the day he took the phones, you know, all the steps he has taken, green light to go and contest. The Electoral Commission sees all as illegal. Papa. Now, say, no. It's not to be blamed for this. That's the Supreme Court said they are blaming Gyakye Quayson. I'm saying Gyakye Quayson, his involvement in Parliament, everything, yen free Parliament books him, if you say, all kwaje forms, no, that's a kratano, and then response by it. Okay. Now, Gyakye Quayson rule Parliament, no. Technically, as we speak now, is a Supreme Court as say Gyakye Quayson from day one or J forms no ebe Parliament be illegal. Abaya to no so nyina illegal. Nti enkoto aba no foforo yate ase. Sana Supreme Court eka. Now, Gyakye Quayson ba Parliament no. Yeto about Parliament any ye the Speaker of Parliament. Remember, EC and I said that Supreme Court they are basing their judgment on day one Gyakye Quayson kwaje forms. It is that time in Yabedi Parliament, he was an illegal or he had committed a crime. Into Bibia Ombiano, na Yanjintum. Now, this same Gyakye Quayson Era Parliament. And a Gyakye Quayson Etuaba, Eddie Speaker of Parliament, right? So one, Gyakye Quayson about or two illegal. Because his Supreme Court say from the day of picking forms, you know, every single step he took was an illegal step. So the day Gyakye Quayson was Parliament to elect Alban Bagbeno, that whole process in Parliament was fraudulent. Because Parliament is a place of records. And I'm a it is person can say Gyakye Quayson about tone Parliament Alban Bagbeno. It is fraudulent. That means to say Alban Bagbin abana Gyakye Quayson ye kind abaka ho edi Alban Bagbin no also tell us Gyakye Quayson's vote was very crucial. That means that the vote a deciding vote to make Alban Bagbin Speaker of Parliament. Now Gyakye Quayson no ye illegal na we Parliament no now ban automatically is an illegal vote. Now the illegal vote no any edi Speaker of Parliament. Technically Speaker of Parliament was elected illegally. So Gyakye Quayson illegal. Speaker of Parliament na Gyakye Quayson to abamye yin no ne election no and I say ne election no is fraudulent because Gyakye Quayson was already fraudulent. Now on your legal or your illegal, you know nyina emfa kwem. Intiama Alban Bagbin's the leadership in parliament, it is fraudulent because abana ye to there were fraudulent people in the elections omotuaba. Now the most dangerous thing is ye Alban Bagbin be Alban Bagbin ne ye fraudulent no. Now Alban Bagbin at the end of the day swore in parliament. Remember, time na moto Alban Bagbin so abano na omunye MP so. Inti na obia ohubia no enye MP. Sata na den per a Supreme Court judgment we no na Gyakye Quayson ogina ho no onye legal na a fraudulent. Inti sa abana oto ye me yi Alban Bagbin no. Ye yi Alban Bagbin no a illegal election e many because Gyakye Quayson to be. Sa illegal election e yi Alban Bagbin no owie no be swear in the Parliament of Ghana, which makes the swearing in an illegal swearing in because Gyakye Quayson the Neboni akoka a Speaker of Parliament when he was being voted for. Into one, if Supreme Court is saying say Gyakye Quayson illegal. Two, Alban Bagbin is illegal. Alban Bagbin swearing in the whole Parliament, because it's illegal, the swearing in is illegal. The Parliament itself has become illegal. Now remember, Alban Bagbin, after swearing in the parliamentarians, he went ahead to swear in the president. Remember, Alban Bagbin got power to swear in parliament and president because of Gyakye Quayson's vote. And Gyakye Quayson, from the day of nomination now of key forms, he has been illegal to the day he entered parliament. Supreme Court, Supreme Court's analogy in their decision. So Gyakye Quayson was a poison from nomination form to parliament. Why poison or the poison naka Alban Bagbin? So poison and also the Alban Bagbin edia ka parliament. Now see something here. Gyakye Quayson elect Alban Bagbin who is illegal. Alban Bagbin who is illegal now swear in parliament, which basically parliament has become illegal. Now they go out there and Alban Bagbin swear in the president. Parliament is illegal. Alban Bagbin, the Speaker of Parliament, is illegal. Now he swears in the president and automatically makes the president illegal. I am making this analysis per the Supreme Court judgment, because they are saying say from day one, now Gyakye Quayson or you're illegal. Until today, as we speak, it has triggered their own judgment. It has triggered to the point whereby Speaker is illegal, Parliament is illegal, the Speaker who swore in the president is illegal. And remember, we are going to swear in a new Chief Justice who, at the end of the day, who will be sworn in by who? The president. And at the end of the day, if the president swears in or the president at the end of the day sanctions the Chief Justice, the Chief Justice to be Tokonu will be an illegal Chief Justice. Don't get this wrong. It's as simple as that. Now this whole thing has become, our whole government has become an illegal government from the judgment of the Supreme Court. Because Speaker Alban Bagbin, he was able to become Speaker through the vote of Gyakye Quayson. That is why sometimes say a team be kobo ball our FIFA competition mua na si nyala is a tournament way Accra House of Folk and Ash Gold and Asa Bofuakwa Ebe Boy. Now they didn't know say Sana Bofuakwa was fielding an illegal player. Do you know what happens at the end of the game? Do you know what FIFA does? What FIFA does is they ban the player and they ban the team. The reason is that the moment player neka team whatever game that the team played, they are at the end of the day going to lose points. Into a rippling effect, the same thing who apply to a Gyakye Quayson per the knowledge of the Supreme Court too. And then I'm making this analogy. The Supreme Court judgment, no read here. As simple a person catch them say Gyakye Quayson from day one, or illegal or the illegal parliament or the illegal at an illegal Speaker of Parliament, I'm an illegal Speaker of Parliament, I swear in illegal parliament, I'm an illegal parliament, I'm a speaker, I could swear in the president, that makes him illegal. Tomorrow we'll be having a new Chief Justice very soon. The president who is illegal, who was sworn in by the illegal Speaker of Parliament, will be swearing in a Chief Justice, then the Chief Justice becomes illegal. So technically, from the ruling of the Supreme Court, we have a country full of illegal leadership. So today, as we sit, so Obiso sorry. No, Kase, you know what? I feel say there's somebody in parliament or no so no or not forms to be because from what we are seeing, if we are going to base the argument on what the Supreme Court is saying, the Supreme Court person catch say the day a Gyakye Quayson ekwaje sa form so nanka also owo the request letter na if Canada no in his hand. Now at the end of the day, Gyakye Quayson ko issue. Why do you think the Supreme Court has no problem with the Electoral Commission? In any serious country, the Electoral Commission was supposed to do something. Then the Electoral Commission was supposed to step in and say, guys, we are the ones who conduct the elections. When Gyakye Quayson came to us, he brought a document to prove that his link with Canada has been broken. He has no connection to Canada. That is why we gave him the nod to move. That would have killed the case there. But because the Electoral Commission support what the NPP people are doing and have a link with the Supreme Court, they have stepped away. And the Supreme Court, in their judgment, they have tried everything possible to carve out the Electoral Commission. Because Gyakye Quayson does not have the power to go to Parliament by himself. Somebody will have to make sure he meets the criteria. Now, when Gyakye Quayson went to the EC, did he meet the criteria? How did he penetrate? So the Supreme Court cannot jump the EC and go and blame Gyakye Quayson. Whilst there are steps to check everybody, then one day we'll be here, then somebody will become president of the republic. Then one day we will find out that the person is a president illegally, because from day one, the document is shown from the EC, nobody protested it. And the probability that we have MPs in parliament today whose documents are not 100% factual, we have it in parliament. The ruling from the Supreme Court against Gyakye Quayson is a clear indication, say, the Supreme Court, they know they have made a lot of mistakes. But you know what they are trying to do? They are finding it difficult to let Ghanaians know that some rulings that they basically oversaw and passed, those rulings, majority were not right. But they cannot admit it. Because the moment they make one good judgment, it will trigger and affect every judgment they've made. Now, the Supreme Court will continuously be making such judgments, because the moment they try to straighten the law, it is automatically going to have this rippling effect whereby every judgment, majority of the time from 2016 till now, all the judgments that they have made that are questionable, they will be affected. So they don't want that, what we call that earthquake, because if there's one trigger, it is going to trigger all the judgments they've made that are questionable. Now, why are we here today? Why is the Supreme Court now a problem? Why is the Supreme Court making this complicated? Electoral Commission, they oversee elections. Did Gyakye Quayson go there? Yes. Did he show them a document? Yes. Did they give him the green light? Yes. What is the Supreme Court supposed to do in this matter? In any serious country, we have wasted money. We have wasted time. The taxpayers' money. The emotional trauma to assign for Brauma Bre. Every day, MPO Parliament. The Supreme Court is holding on to something that is not supposed to be so. The first day this case went to court, the first institution that was supposed to be contacted was the Electoral Commission. Do you have criteria to make sure somebody goes through that criteria before he can contest an election? Yes. Did this guy meet the criteria? Case closed. But this is politics. The Supreme Court is doing politics with our democracy. This is the same Supreme Court. When you go into, sometimes we forget things easily. The Supreme Court denied Santro Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe, that's the South people, from voting during the 2020 election. It's the same Supreme Court. We are talking about a Supreme Court that can make things easy. But because of politics, they are now struggling to define their own problems. They are struggling to defend their own judgments. Now, they don't want to do the right thing, because when they do the right thing, it is going to trigger. It's going to have some rippling, some effect here. It is going to go all the way back to 2016. And you will see that majority of the judgments are not right. From the beginning of my case, I said Supreme Court is the final, but they make mistakes. So this was to help the gerrymandering, which led to Peter Amewu winning the Hohoe seat in 2020. Now, there were over 30,000 folks who did not vote, and this is the same Supreme Court. This is the same Supreme Court that denied over 30,000 Ghanaians the right to choose a member of parliament to represent them. This is the same Supreme Court telling us that the election of the Speaker of Parliament is not valid. The election of the president, the endorsement of the president or the swearing of the president by the Speaker of Parliament, it's not valid. Even Parliament is not valid. This is the same Supreme Court. As we speak, do you think, say, these 30,000 people, this will happen? No, the Supreme Court will never put out that judgment that 30,000 people should be prevented from the Ashanti region from voting. But this Supreme Court went ahead and told the Attorney General and told the EC, prevent 30,000 people from choosing a member of parliament to represent them in parliament to speak for them. These are taxpayers, 30,000. Now, this is the same Supreme Court. The Supreme Court shielded Jane Mensah from defending her own figures in court. They stopped Jane Mensah from going into the witness box to tell Ghanaians who was the right person elected and with what number of vote. This is the same Supreme Court. So when we question the Supreme Court, we have a reason for questioning the Supreme Court, because consistently they have not been consistent. The Supreme Court of Ghana has consistently not been consistent because of trying to protect their own judgments. Jane Mensah went to court. This is a Supreme Court that is the finality. This is the Supreme Court that is supposed to put everything to rest. This is the Supreme Court that is supposed to seal the case. Make sure there are no holes. There are no spaces for people to question so much. This is the Supreme Court that prevented the final person to sign and say, you won the election, you lost the election. This is the same Supreme Court that blocked Jane Mensah from telling us who should be our president 2020. They are protecting all these decisions because anytime, this Gyakye Quayson thing has got to do with what? It's got to do with our citizenship and nationality. They started shooting themselves in the foot the day they said that passport is not birth certificate. It's not a legitimate document to make you say you are a Ghanaian. So it has followed consistently. So every day they need to cut one case to cover one case, cut this case to cover this case. But the more they do that, the more they leave a lot of unanswered questions. Now, this is the same Supreme Court we are talking about. The Supreme Court ruled to help the government to pass e-levy, ruling out initial steps the NDC minority side took to block the passage of e-levy. This court passed the e-levy. We are not supposed to bring stuff in parliament to court. Court does not. The Supreme Court should not interfere in the business of parliament. But today, the NPP is able to go to the Supreme Court to decide whether taxes are supposed to be imposed on the people. Supreme Court, at the end of the day, pass or make judgments, and today we have to go back to the Supreme Court for interpretation. This is the same Supreme Court. And now Supreme Court wants to select a member of parliament for the people of Asin North by taking out James Quayson from parliament. And the Supreme Court is back again. Gyakye Quayson every parliament. Deny the people of Asin North the way they have denied the people of Sal a member of parliament to bring development to them. This is where we are as a nation. Into Asin North for. At this point, it is you people against the court. Whoever represents the NDC, say NDC the Aponchi Kurabisiswa, you people need to prove to Ghanaians to say you want to fight for your own. Gyakye Quayson has done everything possible to protect Asin North. NDC aye bibia to give you Gyakye Quayson. But the NPP, they are denying you your birthright. Gyakye Quayson in and out. Gyakye Quayson is an NDC in and out. Gyakye Quayson has brought everything you people needed. Gyakye Quayson has stood strong. He has fought for Eyamo Asin for. There are people in Accra. achimfo sebi ominuanum akamfo asantefo, they want to deny you people your birthright. And who are saying not passport in Chelsea or Ghana ni, birth certificates in Chelsea or Ghana ni. Oh yeah, as not in your DNA Ghana ni. It is when you have a representation in parliament. It's when somebody's in parliament speaking for you. It's when asam toa obibe to just a menamia or MP. This is what NPP is denying you. Omo Jeffrey Munsem adentra to me kuta omo. It is important. So we are saying north now, Shemia. A vote for the NDC, whether Quayson or not Quayson, it will save you. Ebema Ghana for so a junior edamutrim. Yatiana MPP for ko kumewu. Ekomo mu konko. Ekomo mu t-shirt. Omu you know kind of mama ta city and omu jaw ho. And the moment yeso kumewu, they want to come and do the same thing to you people. I am using raw words because what I am talking about is important. You people need to prove to Ghana for. You need to stand by you. Dear Omamoye Mo. Consistently, NPP use courts to take your democracy from you. And the Oba Asen Northa, insure amobenum, munyansu. NPP for a galamse insure etifi and afo, they have destroyed your livelihood. Omo nothing crying. E kran so fi abruchi do monom. Omo ba no mabrɛ mu t-shirt ene emo. Se munje na mo to aba ma omo. Mo ankasa mo dehia, mo ankasa mo yi mu yema to aba ama no so nko parliament no. NPP for atran crying. At the court adada eye Ghana fo nyina e pese omo gide mo ankasa makomem mo ye eyiye. Why should this happen? We are saying not ni aden also we ma we see. 30,000 people are on for ya job ma ba from nsem. And the abamo so they be ameka me say menya wa adwene say de ye kan the name fact too on say and the asin north money drum so, but you people have the right to prove to Ghana for say munjimi yo sebio munya kumewufu sebio munya nkuko sebio munya nkwasiafo e wo me na e wo yen two different things. Gyakye Quayson ya modesye NDC actually over the years they think about you people. It's about time I'm watching Ghana for sebio mun free kumewu sebio mun nyamwa. You understand what the MPP is doing and you need to fight back. How do you fight back? Vote against the NPP. Na bibi nkanchrom say eye asemfo to seme omo nyankwasiafo. It is very important. Tomorrow and the day it was no ma bekremo asem for the reason why intia mono you need to be voting the way you are voting and vote for the NDC. Because you people have seen the development. Gyakye Quayson, for solid 4 years, this man has been in court. 2 and over years. Why? Why you be born a dear chrono na wabo? What has he done? The person yanis person be boa the krum for. That is it. Gyakye Quayson bo obi akrono onwe obi asika. Gyakye Quayson be obi abesia o se me tu kwan ma gi bibie egu me pese me be gi mi kro. Is that a problem? Gyakye Quayson wa ye obi bone wa bo obi tuo also ya Ghana ni no tu kwan wa ba Ghana no pese o serve Ghana. What is the big deal here? Why are we so foolish as a people? Adena ye Jimmy sabi before Ghana for adena ye Jimmy yama politicians be Jimmy ye. This is the most simplest thing. It's crazy, man.
My never I say PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there. I see them yopo.